In today's video, I'll be making it about War Thunder and anti-tank missiles. So the anti-tank missile I'm using in this helicopter is the SS-11 air-to-ground missile. So this uses the manual command to line of sight. This isn't the semi-automatic command to line of sight of more modern anti-tank missiles. This is pretty old, and this was produced from 1953 to 1985. Let's get started. This is the wire-guided missile, which just uses like I said, manual command to line of sight. So you just get the missile to the target by this. You just use it like that and guide it to the target. And as you can see, there's a big flare at the back of it. It's just a remote control missile, basically. Has a range of about 3 kilometers. The missile itself is not very fast. It's only 190 meters per second, or 620 feet per second. One bad about these old types of missiles is that you really can't move when you're aiming the missile, which makes you vulnerable to ground fire. Right now, I can't maneuver my helicopter or anything. If that tank was shooting at me, I would probably get hit. That's one of the problems with these older types of anti-tank missiles. It's slow, and you have to guide it to the target, which makes you vulnerable. Okay, this is a Marder armored infantry fighting vehicle, and this has a wire-guided Milan missile. You can't fire this missile when you're moving, as you can see. Stop the ground vehicle to fire. I can't fire the missile when I'm moving. This is the wire-guided missile, and it has a range of about, effective range of 200 to 300 meters. So if it's less than 200 meters, I don't think the missile is going to arm. It's not going to work. You have to be at about 200 to 3,000 meters for it to work. The speed of this missile is about 200 meters per second. That's not terribly fast. It's about 660 feet per second. If you look at it in retrospect, a BB gun has a velocity of maybe an air gun, maybe 600 feet per second or something like that. 600 to 1,000 feet per second for BB or pellet gun, so that's not very fast. This is a wire-guided missile, so the problem with wire-guided missiles is that they tend to get tangled up, especially if you fire it near places that have a lot of trees and stuff. And the reason why they use wire-guided is because wire-guided missiles cannot be jammed, right? But there's problems with it also. So this uses a semi-automatic command to line of sight system, and the one that I showed previously used a manual command to line of sight. So it's basically manual is kind of like a remote control missile. So this is like that also. So it just sends a command back to you, and you could control the missile, guide it to target like this. The problem with using this type of missile is that it's slow. So let's say I was targeting that guy. He sees me, I see him. He's shooting at me while I'm launching this at him. See, that makes me very vulnerable, right? I can get hit. So if he didn't notice that, you know, and I just launched like this. If I took him out like that and he couldn't return fire, good. But if I didn't take him out, he would know where the missile came from, and he would just shoot his machine guns and cannons at me and try to take me out. And the problem with this thing is I can't shoot when I move, right? And that makes me vulnerable. If I want to shoot, then I gotta come to a complete stop. And then fire again. Since the missiles are slow, and I think there's a smoke trail behind it, they could see where the missiles are coming from. That's one of the issues about using this type of missile. Okay, so for this vehicle, uses tow missiles. Uses a wire-guided missile. And again, you can't fire this missile when you're moving. Gotta stop to fire again. This missile is used on armored vehicles such as the M2 Bradley. It has a reloading system like the Bradley. This vehicle. This missile could be used by foot soldiers. I could launch 2 at a time. Which is a good thing. It uses a semi-automatic command to line of sight missile. Like the Milan, I guess. As you can see, when I fire 2 missiles, the second missile cannot be used. You see that? You saw that, right? I'm going to demonstrate that again. I could fire more than 1 missile, but once I fire the first missile, second missile, the second missile loses connection. You can only track 1 target at 1 time with this type of missile. So 1 at a time, basically, and then I target the next one. I think this missile has a tandem warhead, so it has one to destroy the armor, whether that be a ERA blocks called explosive reactive armor or composite armor, and then the next warhead penetrates through the armor and gets inside of the tank and causes damage. I think this missile has a minimum range, I think maybe 200 yards or meters for the warheads to detonate. If it's too close, it might not detonate, you know. That's the thing about anti-tank missiles. They have a minimum and a effective range, maximum range. Okay, now I'll be testing the Coronet E missile, or anti-tank missile. This is a laser-guided missile. The question is, what's so special about this missile? There's a tank right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a missile. The good thing about the Coronet is you can shoot it when you're moving, like this. You can't do that with a lot of anti-tank missiles that have SACLOS, or semi-automatic command to line of sight missiles. This is a laser guided missile, and you're able to move and shoot at the same time, just with the missile. And another thing about this missile is you could fire 2 at the same time. And unlike the TOW missile, where you launch a second missile, the first missile loses communication and doesn't hit the target. For this, it's not like that. It's 1, 2, so 2 missiles at the same time, hitting the same target. You see what I mean? It didn't lose communication. You could fire 2 at a time. Plus, I could shoot when I'm moving. So after you fire the 4 missiles, it has to reload, you see. So right now it's loading 4 more missiles. So this, depending on the vehicle, I guess some vehicles have more missiles. They may have 8 launchers or something, but this one has 4 launchers. So I can launch 2 at a time, basically. And as for these missiles, there are countermeasures against these missiles. Like smoke can block these missiles or prevent them from locking on. But this type of smoke, which is just regular smoke, won't work because it's got a thermal imager, right? Still guided to the target. So let me test it. So right now there's smoke, right? So I'm going to fire the missile. I can still use the missile, right? But if I use IR smoke like this, now I can't see through it. You see, this type of smoke, I can't. Since I can't see through it, I can't hit anything. If you use IR smoke, but regular smoke can be seen through. IR smoke, not really. This holds true for all anti-tank missiles. Now the IR smoke is cleared. Let me use the IR smoke again. So obviously I can't aim it if I can't see it. And the laser doesn't work either because the particulates in the air are kind of like blocking it, you know, blocking the guidance system of the missile. So the Kornet is a pretty capable missile. There are two types. There's Kornet and Kornet E, which has a maximum speed of 250 to, which is 825 feet per second. And you also have the Kornet EM, which has a speed of 300 or velocity of 300 meters or 990 feet per second. And they have different types of warheads. They may have high explosive warheads, anti-tank, heat rounds. And the type of warhead is a tandem warhead, which means it has two warheads, one to defeat the ERA block or the composite armor. And the second warhead would be used to defeat, go inside the tank and destroy it, go through the armor itself. And each of these missiles costs about $26,000 each, which is a lot cheaper than a TOW missile, or a Javelin, or even a Milan. It's very inexpensive for an anti-tank missile. And the range varies from, I guess the minimum range is 100 meters. And the Kornet E model has a range of 550 meters maximum range. The Kornet EM, the anti-tank version, has a range of 8,000 meters. The high explosive war has a range of 1,000 meters or 10 kilometers. Accuracy is about 5 meters. A 5-meter circle or diameter. So this missile is also called the 9M133 Kornet, or you could just call it the Kornet. Many thousands of them have been produced. Tens of thousands of these missiles have been produced. And I think it's a pretty capable missile. It's relatively cheap compared to Western missiles. It's a pretty capable weapon as well.